I'm Andrew, and welcome to episode 2 of the Neon Knitter podcast. So, I'm going to jump right in by starting with the elephant in the room, what I'm wearing. I finished this back in the spring, so this is not a new FO at all, but it's what I'm wearing today. This is Extra Texture by Stephen West. And it's 2 yarns held together. It is Drops Charisma in the colorway Petrol, held with Drops Kid Silk in the colorway Petrol. So yeah, so I really love this sweater, and I wanted a teal sweater that was really funky and quirky, and I think that this is really funky and quirky, and I think the construction of it is quite interesting. So yeah, that's my Extra Texture sweater. Alright, so now let's move on to finished objects. So my first finished object is my color craving. And the frame isn't big enough for me to hold it all up and show you, but I will insert pictures and I will talk more about it later when I get to acquisitions. But a couple weeks ago I did get to model my color craving, and so I will just insert a picture of me holding it up so you can see it better. But yeah, this is my color craving. Really happy with it. So color A is the blue, and that is Black Wattle Yarns Gravalia fingering in the colorway Spectator. Color B is the sort of peach color, and that is Three Irish Girls Glenhaven Cashmerino fingering, and the color is called Applejack. And then color C is the pink, and that is Zen Yarn Garden Superfine fingering in the colorway Karaoke Mike. All 3 of these bases are still being made, but these 3 colors are discontinued, and they were all 3 Stephen B exclusive colors. So that's my color craving. Then my next FO is, my next finished object is the CHICKADEE COWL by KRISTEN KAPUR, which, if you remember from my previous episode, I wanted to finish my color craving and the CHICKADEE COWL before starting the Twists and Turns Mystery Knit Along, which I'll talk more about my progress on that later, because I'm still on clue 3. Haven't finished that yet because I got distracted with a few other projects. So yeah, I should probably finish my Twists and Turns, but anyways, I'll talk more about that later. So the CHICKADEE COWL is finished, and yes, I got both color craving and CHICKADEE COWL done before October 6th. So pretty excited about that. So I will insert some footage right here of me showing the CHICKADEE COWL, because if you remember, I made it for my mom for her birthday, and so I no longer have it. My mom has it, so I filmed some footage earlier in the month. So I will roll that footage now. Okay, so I'm making this video now showing off this finished object. This is the CHICKADEE COWL by KRISTEN KAPUR. I talked about it in my last episode. And I used the hand-spun alpaca yarn that I bought at Shepherd's Harvest this year. It's from Hopeful Hills Alpaca Farms. There we go. I bought it from their booth at Shepherd's Harvest, and this is the finished cowl. I knitted on the suggested needle from the pattern, which is size 10. And yeah, I'm filming this separately from the rest of my podcast, and we'll be inserting this into that footage because this was my mom's birthday present, and I have since given it to her and don't have access to it when I want to film my podcast. So yeah, that's the CHICKADEE COWL by KRISTEN KAPUR. Alright, so that's it for finished objects. Let's move on to whips. Okay, trying to figure out the exact order I'm going to show you guys my whips in, but I have dug out some old projects this month. Now, yes, most of the month I did work on twists and turns, which I'll show you in a little bit. So brace yourselves, there will be spoilers, but I'm not showing you yet. And I didn't think to grab my yarn labels. Yeah, so my project that I decided to get out of hibernation was my watermelon socks. And this is the Gauge Swatch Socks by Non-Cyclodean Designs. I probably butchered the name of it, but it'll be on the screen. This is the second one, and here's the first one. Yes, these are thigh-high socks. I just really wanted thigh-high socks for whatever reason. And this is my very first pair of socks, and I'm really happy with them. And the yarn I'm using is from Artistic Yarns by Abby. It is her watermelon self-striping sock yarn. I had to get 2 skeins of it in order to have enough to make a pair of thigh-high socks. And I got the dark green 50 gram mini, which when you order 50 gram mini, she just sends 2 25 gram minis, but came with as well as a sock set. So yeah, that is my watermelon socks, and also comes with the yarn a watermelon stitch marker. And I'm knitting these on size 1.5 needles. So yeah, and then my next whip I will pull out of here is, well, this is a project that I haven't worked on in a while, and I finally decided to get it out and work on it. I'm not going to dig all the yarns out of my bag because I'm using the same yarns that are in the picture from the pattern. But this is Traveling Zebra by Louise Robert, and it's really curled up right now, but I'll insert a picture of what it's supposed to look like when it's finished. You have to buy the kit in order to get the pattern, but it's from Biscuit Yarns. It's their Bis sock, and it is one of their paint boxes, and this particular one is called Charivari. Even if you could buy the pattern individually, I would have still bought the kit because this self-striping yarn is in it. The other 4 yarns are all solids though, which they're buried in the bottom of my bag, because my next whip is something I cast on this past weekend, and it is a sweater. So this is the Drangey sweater by Stephen West. I just cast it on this past weekend. I cast it on Friday night actually, and this is all I've been working on since, and I'm really excited about this because I feel like this is a good all-purpose sweater. It's probably the most masculine thing I've ever made, which is good because I'm a guy, and so I'm thinking maybe I might wear this if I ever need to go to, say, maybe a job interview or something of that type of event, assuming that the place is casual enough for me to do that. So yeah, so of course if there's a place that is too formal for me to wear this to a job interview, it's probably not a place I'd want to work at. So yeah, so yeah, this is my Drangey sweater that I just started, and the yarns are, oh, here, let me pull out a skein of the yarn that I'm using. Alright, here's the yarn I'm using. This is from Barocco. It is their Avanti. And this yarn is older than I am. I got it on eBay. Basically, Stephen B had a few skeins of it, and I liked it. they didn't have enough for sweaters, so I just got a whole bunch on eBay. I have 15 skeins of this. This is my main color, and then my contrast color, which is the tan, I have 4 skeins. I only need 13 skeins of this, but the seller on eBay was selling them in 3 lots of 5 because they had 15 of them, so I had to get 15 in order to get the right quantity. I bought this yarn a little over a year ago, but this yarn is older than I am, and the only pattern I can find on the entire internet that calls for this yarn was from one of the 1984 issues of Vogue Knitting. So this yarn is at least manufactured in 1984, if not older. So I'm thinking 1984 is right around when this yarn came out. Let's see here. I am blanking on the color number of my color B here, because color A is the maroon and B is the tan. Got my yarn labels here. So color A is number 730. I wound most of my skeins into balls already, so all of my labels are here. Just the ones I suspected I might not need, I didn't wind up yet, so I only wound 12, even though I think I might need a 13th one, because then it'll be easier to destash or do whatever I feel I need to do with if I haven't wound it, so. Excuse me. But yeah, there's the 2 colors. So color A, the maroon, is 730. That's the color number 730. And my contrast color, or color B, is color number 991, or 991. Yep. Oops. So that is all I've been working on in the past week, is my Drangey sweater. I started it Friday night, and it is Tuesday night now. So yeah, Tuesday night, election day today, so yeah. Yeah, so that's my Drangey sweater, and that is the whip I'm currently obsessed with. Okay, I know you've been waiting for it. Spoiler alert, I'm about to show my progress on my Twists and Turns COWL, which, yes, I'm still using my COWL bag. So I am not even halfway done with clue 3 yet, because I set it down for a while, and so I'm showing it to you now so you can see some progress, and then when I get clue 3 done, then yeah, I will film my clue 3 video, and then I'll do a clue 4 video showing it all completed and whatever when I'm done with clue 4. But I don't know what it's going to look like because I'm still keeping it a mystery. So yeah, so my mom's looked ahead for me so that she can know what it looks like. And yeah, so anyways, I already said spoilers, so yeah, so you've already seen my clues 1 and 2 if you've watched my videos. But here's where I am on clue 3. So I'm just on section, let me see, 1, 2, section 6, I think. Yeah, so once I'm done with that, then I gotta do it over here as well. But yeah, so that's where I am on Twists and Turns. So I'm not very far into clue 3, but in the next couple weeks I should probably get it done, because my Drangey sweater is actually not my priority at the moment, even though I'm working on it at the moment. So actually what I'm supposed to be prioritizing is not what I'm seemingly prioritizing. What I want to get done is my Twists and Turns, and then hopefully my sock. And then I do actually need to start my grandma's Christmas present, which will be the ONZA cardigan by HARGREAVES. And I don't have the yarn with me, it's upstairs at the moment, but I will be using Red Heart Super Saver in the colorway light blue. My grandma has dementia and I don't want her to accidentally felt it in the wash, so that's why I'm using acrylic. So yeah. And also, I have about 2,000, maybe 3,000 yards of it, which means I'll only go through half of the Red Heart Super Saver that I have. Basically, I was gonna make it for her out of the colorway Delft Blue. It's also Red Heart Super Saver. But then a friend of mine gave me 10 skeins of light blue, which is just one shade lighter, and it's just fine. It's gonna work pretty well. I don't have to go out and buy more Red Heart Super Saver when I don't really have a project for it. But I got it from a friend of mine. Her daughter was pregnant and gonna have babies, and so she had a bunch of blue yarn. Well, then she ended up having twin girls, and then her other daughter got pregnant also with twin girls, and so she's like, here Andrew, I have a bunch of blue yarn, and I'm finding myself actually needing pink because they all had girls, and so I had no use for this blue. Do you want it? And I'm like, yes, I can make my grandma's cardigan out of that. I don't have to go buy any yarn for it. So yeah. But yeah, I'm using acrylic so that she doesn't accidentally felt it because, again, my grandma has dementia, so yeah. All right. Let's move on to acquisitions. And this episode's going a lot faster than I expected it to, but that's okay. So acquisitions. For starters, I bought a new project bag this month in October. I know we're already partway into September. But basically, I was going to film my podcast at the beginning of September, like I mentioned in my previous episode, but I was going to film it Wednesday night last week, and Tuesday night I had gotten my COVID booster shot, and so Wednesday I went to bed and slept for 15 hours straight. I went to bed at like 5 o'clock in the evening, and yeah, I was just out of it and couldn't film. And then this past weekend I was not home, and then Thursday night I was going to film, but we were having storms, and so you'd just be hearing thunder and lightning. So I'm finally getting around to filming, so yeah. But anyways, so this is my new project bag. It's got this nice beaded closure. You just thread it through the loop here. And I forget the company that made it, but it's like handmade in India. I bought it at the Como Zoo in St. Paul, Minnesota. And it's reversible. The outside of it has these zebras, and the inside, more zebras. So I'm like crazy obsessed with zebras. So yeah, and it's the same brand as this bag, which I've shown you before, which I also got at the Como Zoo, but that I got like last year. They still have that bag if you are ever at the Como Zoo and want to buy one. They still have both of them. But yeah, I got this. Really like this one because it can go over my shoulder. So this is the project bag I have my socks in, and I also have my twists and turns in here. I just took my thing, I stuck the bag in there too. Easier than stuffing it into that little tiny bag, but mostly I had it in here because I wanted to have my twists and turns and my socks with me at the same time, because I had some scenarios where I could walk around with my socks and not my shawl. So that is how come I had that in that bag. But anyways, And then this bag is what was housing my Drangey sweater and my traveling zebra scarf. So, yeah. Alright, yarn acquisitions. So I'm going to go in chronological order as to when I got these things. So, right around the beginning of the month, October, I went to Michael's. I specifically went to the Michael's in Woodbury. No, Maplewood. Yeah, I went to the one in Maplewood, Minnesota. Yep. And I didn't go to that one on purpose, I just happened to end up there at that particular location. Anyways, I saw this yarn. It was absolutely the softest yarn. It is the Karen Cloud Cakes. This color is called Rah Rah Raspberry. And I have 2 cakes of it. And I have 1 cake of this blue here. This is called Bold Blue. And these are going to go together to knit the Night Nook sweater by Stephen West. But it is so soft, you guys. So the pink's the main color and the blue is the contrast. This is 760 yards, medium weight number 4. I think it's a worsted. And it is 100% polyester. So, yeah, and it's apparently machine washable and dryable. I wouldn't trust that. I would hand wash it personally, but yeah, so very soft. So I got that at Michael's. Then my next acquisition is this. I got this fade at Stephen B. There, yeah, this one's got some white in it. This is all from Yarn Snob, which I could have talked about this last month, maybe, but I forgot to talk about it. Basically, back in August, I placed an order for pickup at the store because they had an online-only deal they were doing. And I went to go pick my order up, and that order also contained the 2 skeins of Pearl Talk Usoxy thing in the color Mad About Saffron, which is going to go in my Chrysler shawl. I talked about it in my acquisitions last month if you want to go check that out. I don't have it with me right now, it's upstairs, but so I ordered this. So, oops, actually no, it goes this way. Sorry, I was holding this wrong. There we go, that's the fade. Anyways, the one in the middle was not in my bag, and I'm like, and they're like, okay, so you're not the only one that ordered it in, and they were out of stock, so they had to order more. So I had to wait till that came in, and then when I went to pick it up, they actually had this one in there instead of this one, and I already had this one, right? So I don't need 2 of them. So I called them, and they had to put this one on hold, and so I had to go back and exchange it for the right one. But anyways, this is all from Yarn Snob, and this is their A Good Fingering base. I'm going to be making the Meshy Twist by Stephen West. It's a 3-skein fade shawl, Meshy Twist. This is Yarn Snob A Good Fingering. This color is called Calligraphy. This one is Reverse Calligraphy. And this one is New York, New York. It's just got a little bit of white in it. Yeah. So that's a nice fade. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do for Meshy Twist. So this one's got more white than black, and this one's got more black than white is what it is, basically. And then this one is the black with the white speckles. And the New York, New York also comes in gray, blue, and red as well. So they're all called New York, New York. This is just the black one. So, and then they all have the white specks in it. So, yeah, so that is for Messy Twist. So really just the reverse calligraphy skein was an acquisition for this month, and the other two skeins were actually an acquisition back in August, so I probably could have shown you on my last episode, but didn't occur to me to, so. Then, this past, couple weeks ago, me and my family met my dad's parents, or my grandparents, for lunch in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. It was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I met my grandparents for lunch in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, the four of us plus them, four of us meaning my family. And we ate at Red Robin in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And whenever I go somewhere I don't normally go, one of the first things I like to do is Google cool murals in the area, because maybe I can find a cool background to model one of my shawls or sweaters in front of. And so that is when I got to model Color Craving. So I wore Color Craving that day to model it. I haven't blocked my Color Craving yet, so I haven't sewn on a Westnitz tag yet, but I got to model it at the Brewing Project, which is a brewery in Eau Claire. And the mural is of a hop. But it's a really cool mural, and the colors were pretty spot on with my shawl. And then also in Eau Claire is, you guessed it, a yarn shop. So it is called Tangled Up in Hue, and it is, well, there's a store called Blue Boxer Arts in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and what it is it's basically a store where different artisans sell their art. And then all the way in the back of the store is this little corner full of yarn, and that is Tangled Up in Hue. So if you buy any yarn from them and stash it on Ravelry, and you want to list where you bought it, Blue Boxer Arts is officially what is listed on Ravelry. So yeah, it's Blue Boxer Arts, Tangled Up in Hue. The store basically has two names. But anyways, this is the yarn I bought when I was there. This is from Darn Yarn MN, and this is her Snuggle Sock, and the color is called Arabesque. And it is 463 yards, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And this is going to be my background color, or my lighter color in, or color B, I think, in the brioche chevron shawl. So it's going to be 2-color brioche. I haven't figured out what my other color is going to be yet, my color A or my main color, I guess. But this is the color B in brioche chevron shawl. Not to get confused with the brioche chevron wrap. This is the brioche chevron shawl, the triangle one, not the long rectangle. So yeah, brioche chevron wrap. Looking forward to that. But yeah, Darn Yarn MN, Snuggle Sock, in the color Arabesque. And you can see all the beautiful colors in it. Actually, there's more speckles in this one, I think. Honestly, but yeah. And this is special yarn because Darn Yarn MN is no longer dyeing yarn. Because the other thing she did was project bags, and so now she just exclusively makes project bags and doesn't dye yarn. So yeah, so that is what I got in Eau Claire. Oh, I forgot to show the other thing I bought when I went to correct my order at Stephen B. When I went to correct it when they accidentally gave me another skein of the regular calligraphy and I had to exchange it for reverse calligraphy. I bought some yarn at Stephen B. So I'm going to start by saying I already had 3 of these and I just bought 2 more to go with it. So I already had this one. This is Lana Grossa Muhlenweit in color number 1289. And this is a discontinued color. This is Sandisk Garn Lana in color number 4517. Sandisk Garn no longer makes their Lanet yarn. For the pattern I'm going to be doing, which I'll tell you about in a minute, I actually need a second one of this in order to have enough. Someone on Ravelry had one listed as Will Trader Sell. It was the only way I could find this particular color of it. I messaged them. They have never gotten back to me. So I might have to find a different pink. Or go with a different color altogether, or whatever I decide to do. But that's that. And then this is Wisdom Yarns Angora Lace in the colorway Plum. So those 3 skeins I already had, and I just got 2 more to go with it. So I got Osterman Step Classic, and this is color number 1005, or is it 1045? I'm not sure. If I'm in the right lighting, I can read the name of the color number through the price tag label, but if I peel it up, it just rips it, and then I can't read it at all. So, so I'm doing my best to try to tell you. I think it's 1045. No, 1015. Yeah, okay. 1015 is the color number of this Osterman Step Classic, and it's this nice orange color. And then I got this one. This is KFI Collection Indulgence Kettle Dyed Fingering, and this is in the colorway Mocha. So, and the label fell off of this, so I kind of just holding it on. So, hang on, this will take a second to hold these all up. But these 5 are going to go together. Again, I might have to replace the pink with a different one if I can't get that other skein. But this is going to be the Triangle Parade shawl by Stephen West. So that's for Triangle Parade. Yeah, so just gonna stick these back in the bag here. And then I have one final acquisition. Which I actually forgot to grab, so I will go and get that and then show you. Okay, so I'm back with that one acquisition I forgot to grab. So I think I told you in my last episode that I had a fiber fair coming up. It's the Fall Fiber Fair in Hopkins, Minnesota at the Eisenhower Community Center. That was this past Saturday, November 5th. And I bought 6 skeins of yarn, 5 colors, just one of my colors was 250-gram skeins. And I bought my yarns for the Hibernate Along coming up, so you know what that means, Vloguary will be happening again. Anyways, so this year's Hibernate Along pattern, this year he only gives you 1 choice instead of 2, which I wasn't expecting, but this is only his 3rd year doing it. The other 2 years you had 2 choices, so I was a little surprised, but It's a fingering weight shawl. I haven't ordered the book yet. I will order that to get it here on time though. I'm going to order it at the beginning of December because I didn't budget enough money this month. So yeah, but and then if the book doesn't get here in time, then I'll just buy the pattern. But here's my 5 colors. So let me go over them. For the Aurora Cabin Shawl by Stephen West, this is color A, this pretty gold color. It's from Petal and Hank, which I couldn't find anything about Petal and Hank online, but this was, Petal and Hank didn't have a booth there. Her yarns were being sold at the Get Bent's Farm booth. So, yeah. This is from Petal and Hank. And it's 75% merino wool, 25% tussa silk. And it is 430 yards. And these are all naturally dyed. So this one is dyed from Kutch, Marigold, and Madder. So it says what it's dyed from. So that's my color A. My color B is this red. And it's the same yarn. And this one is dyed from Madder and Marigold. Then here's my color C, also the same yarn. And this one is dyed from Black Walnut. This beautiful tan or brown color, whatever you want to call it. And then color D, this is the one that the whole palette was based off of. I saw this skein and really liked it. Excuse me. And yeah, it's the same yarn. And it's dyed from onion skins and sapin wood. And they didn't quite have a color E that I liked at their booth. So I went to a different booth. And this is just 100% Cormo wool. And it just says it's natural brown, 200 yards, so I had to get 2 of them. She does have 400 yard skeins at her booth, but not in this color. So this is from Dresso Family Farm, 100% Cormo wool and a little VM, which I think means veggie matter. And so, yeah, I was picking veggie matter out of this, and I'm sure there'll be more to pick out when I open it up. So, if you don't know what veggie matter is, it's that, like, stuff that almost feels like straw or hay, kind of, that's in some natural yarns that you constantly are picking out when you're using it. Yeah. So, that is my color E. So again, those are my colors for the Aurora Cabin Shawl. So yeah, so that is it for my acquisitions. I'll probably go over those yarns again in my Bloguary intro, which I'll probably do that video on Christmas Day, probably. Because we cast on December 26th. So yeah, otherwise, I'm Andrew. Thank you for checking in here at the Neon Knitter, and I will see you in the next video.